Motor City Nightmares is always so hopping that we've got to do 2 shows. Here comes number 2, baby. Stay tuned. Holy shit, am I fired up. Lou Temple, one of my favorite guests from 2 years ago, has come back, Motor City Nightmares 2016, and he's taken the time to be with us again. Lou, I am just thrilled you're back on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. I'm a big fan of the show, obviously, and it's a fan of yours. So
Thank you.
It's great to be able to come to the audience again.
Well,
here we are in Detroit, Michigan, in the greater Michigan area at the Motor City Nightmares.
Yes, sir. And as usual, you got a lot of people at your table.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead fame still goes on. The Devil's Rejects, all
the gift that keeps on giving. It is interesting because we did a panel today for the Devil's Rejects for the fans, and you recall how awesome and what an experience that was. And as I was speaking, I thought to myself, what an amazing accomplishment we did in building that movie, which is coming up now on 11 years old, which is incredible. And then The Walking Dead obviously is the gift that keeps on giving. People are so fanatical about it and continue to be as their boat sails deep into the ocean, and that family has grown exponentially.
Absolutely.
So when we do these kind of shows that are specific to Walking Dead, it's like a family reunion and meeting stepbrothers and stepsisters that you've never met before, and so that becomes an experience all into itself. And when I joined the show, The Walking Dead, it hadn't grown so much. I mean, it was the original core group,
right,
and they went to Herschel's
That's right.
farm.
That's right.
And so there wasn't a lot of newcomers. And then as the 5 prisoners, as we arrived, it was like, oh wow, new people, wow, that's great. And shortly thereafter, Woodbury. But now it feels like every 2 episodes we're being introduced to new groups of people, as you would, So it's not like you're castaway on an island, but so we still hold on to our popularity, but we share it now with a lot of other new wonderful cast members.
It's so funny because when your character was eliminated in an untimely, everybody thought that you were going to continue. We had that discussion around the last time. I kind of thought you were going to have a run there for a while, and then all of a sudden
and that was always the intent. And it's interesting because nobody goes on the show with the intention to leave it, but everyone goes on the show understanding eventually
your time's coming.
Yeah. And so I can only say that is the circle of life and life on The Walking Dead.
I was obligated to talk about that stuff a little bit, wanted to let people know, hey, we didn't forget that stuff, but you got a lot of great new stuff coming out, and I wanted to get you on so you could talk about
thanks.
it. You got 31 coming out.
Yes.
You've been working on Longmire, and you got a lot of other stuff coming out.
Right.
So bring us up to speed on everything Lou Temple and what's...
Well, 31 is definitely Rob's Golden Jewel coming out this fall, September 16th, which is prime real estate for that particular movie because we're going into the Halloween season, and so that's a big release. I have attended Sundance with this movie this past Sundance in January, and it premiered there, and it was a great screening. It was received very well. It is not an easy movie, as none of Rob's are prone to be. It's difficult. I reason it to be very, an example, if you were to take a glass terrarium and drop in a tarantula and a scorpion and a bunch of fire ants and a rattlesnake and a rabid rat and shake it up, they would not just simply go to their neutral corners and leave each other alone. They're not that type of creature. So they would all probably attack each other. And then just to top it off, maybe take a little baby potbelly pig and drop it in there. And it's kind of got that violent,
let's see what happens,
terse, yes. And it's very much like that. I wouldn't say that it has the dark humor that Devil's Rejects has, but it still has its moments, and it takes you on just a rampant ride, and you leave exhausted having watched this film. So I don't think any of Rob's fans will be disappointed in, or any of the genre's fans. I think it's going to land. I think we take for granted that the villains or the bad guys or they're either going to get theirs, but when you watch them actually have to fight to survive, you realize, oh my gosh, this happens to everybody. Even though I'm scared of that creature, I realize that creature is scared to die. And so this has elements of that as well. It's interesting.
Now, something I want to ask is you obviously have a connection there where you're being asked to come back again and again, time and again. What's that like when you have a connection with a director and I assume somebody like Rob gives you a call and says, hey, what are your thoughts? You're saying, heck yes, get me on board.
I'll do anything for Rob specifically. I adore him as a person. I like his storytelling. I like his film technique. I like his sensibility or his tone, the essence that he takes to do his work. I like his professionalism and his practice on set and his preparation and his process. So that's a no-brainer. That he trusts me with his stories and his characters flatters me, and it gives me a lot of I guess it gives me a sense of validation for my work, but it's also an awesome responsibility because I don't want to let him down. That's something, again, on The Walking Dead, that the show is so good week in and week out, you feel a real responsibility to help carry that
You can't
ball.
drop the ball.
And it's the same with Rob Zombie. You feel very responsible for the character that you bring. Now, he's the carpenter, or he's the framer. So he builds the frame of the home, and then we come in and do the sheetrock and the painting and the finish work. So we color in the characters. He's given us the framework of the characters. So that he would have faith in me to do that, I don't take that lightly, and it's good. So he brings me and several others, back because he has that confidence, and he frankly expects us to bring what we bring to the party.
Bring
and
your A game, right?
He recognizes that we can do it. He recognizes that we have something to offer, and we'll bring something to offer. And then it also affords him the opportunity to maybe bring some new people into the fray in order to give them more of his time. Mm-hmm. Lou, Sid, Bill, push play, you do what you do. I know what that is. This isn't someone I've never worked with before.
Let me work with them a little bit more.
And get to know them and how their work is. And I think he's done that and continues to do that. So, he calls, I take the call every time.
Fantastic. Now, Lou, I was really pleased when I went on IMDb. I also keep up with you on Facebook. We're friends on there and stuff. You got a lot of stuff coming up, 16 and into 17. So do you want to talk about some other projects?
Yeah, there's an interesting movie coming out called Kidnap. This is a film I did with Halle Berry. It's gone through a little administrative or legal problems. The film company that was partial owner of the movie has gone bankrupt. This is Relativity. They've got a few films and they're, from what I understand, they're kind of holding it as a tangible piece of property that would be an investment that might get them out of their debt. So they're trying to figure that release out, and I think ultimately, other studios, Paramount, Sony, are trying to buy the movie to release it, and it is simply that. It's Kidnap. It's a boy taken from his mother at a park in the chase to return that child. So that's out there, and I'm excited for that. Miss Berry's great. I think she does particularly well in sort of heroine type roles where she's got to save the day, the victim. She rises above becoming the victim. So, and this is the same vein. Yeah, I do Longmire. If you're out there on Netflix, drop into Longmire. Since Netflix picked it up, the show was able to expand it a little bit and carry more arcs through the storyline, as opposed to being so episodic. Everything neat, tidied up this episode, next episode we'll start something new.
I'm enjoying it a lot more with the fact.
Yeah, and I feel like that's got some legs, and I'll probably go back this season to do a little bit with my character. It was a lot of fun. I like the people very much. I think it's an interesting thing. You know, I don't want to call it this generation's Walker Texas Ranger, but Walker ran for a long time and entertained a lot of people.
Entertaining show for a long time.
And it's interesting because you know, it's the big sky country out there. Actually, that's Montana, but this is Wyoming. Big land, low population, which for some reason people take the law into their own hands. You know, and well, you know, you shot him in the leg. I know, but he was trespassing. You know, and I didn't.
There's clearly a sign that says
yeah. So well, you can't shoot people. He crawled over to a tree and he died. Well, I'm sorry about that. So they need a sheriff, and Longmire is the sheriff. So there's that, and I think that is, as you said, I think their storylines are better. I just finished a movie called Cut Off, an independent film that was French based. And it's really about ISIS here in America. It's about cults that take disenfranchised people who are on the fringe and have nowhere else to go and build a terrorist sect in town, in our country. You know, it doesn't just happen in other places. And how those people can be misled by a charismatic leader or a charismatic ideal. And one of these people that we're trying to get into our mix, our fray, has recognized this, and so it's a little bit about his story. And I really enjoyed that because it's psychological drama, and it's interesting. I have a movie out called Desierto, which it's not out yet, but it's out coming very soon. It's Alphonse and Jonas Caron, who did Gravity. And this is a border movie about what they call the Minutemen on the border. They're vigilantes that take immigration into their own hands with a rifle. And this one particular vigilante, he is he ends a group of Mexicans crossing the border, but he misses two, and then the chase is on. He's chasing, and I'm a border patrol agent that comes across him, and he just offers that he's hunting, and then I realize he's not, and so then we've got this other chase scene, and he's played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's become quite popular again. I don't know if he's ever not been popular, but and then he's chasing Gael Garcia Bernal, and the movie is really great. It's in, though I don't know when it's going to be out. So yeah, I've got quite a bit to do.
It sounds like you do have a lot going on. Well, Lou, we're already at the end of our segment here. You know I absolutely adore having you on the show. You are just a fantastic guest, great actor. We're pleased to have you on. Thanks so much for being on the show
Thank you for having me here on cultpop.com. Check it out. You follow me?
There you are. Stay tuned for more Cult Pop. Welcome back. My God, am I pleased to have on Caroline Williams. Caroline is nice enough to join us here at Motor City Nightmares 2016. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Since we're at a genre convention, I'm going to jump right in and talk about the things that brought you here. Things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Hatchet. Things like this that bring you lines coming out and people smiling to come see you. Let's jump in first. Before I talk about the movies, let's talk about your experience here so far this weekend. What is it like in interacting with a crowd of people that are here to see you, wanting your autograph, wanting to hear your stories? That's got to be a pretty rewarding experience, I think.
On the one hand, yes, it's very flattering to the ego, obviously. Number two, it's very good for business. But number three, they have their stories too. And when you hear their stories about their lives, their entertainment choices, the things that turn them on, that turn them off, the portions of your performance that resonate with them, actors that you interact with that they love, it completely fleshes out the experience of being an actor and brings an entirely new meaning to why you do the work. It's actually more external than you would think it would be, you know?
I'm really impressed when I see, I'll come down before I know I'm going to interview somebody, and I kind of stand off and I stand back and I watch the interaction. And one thing that is universal at these type of conventions, and these type of conventions only, is the absolute thrill. And I don't even know you as a guest realize how much sometimes there'll be people standing off for you're interacting with me or someone else. And then they're standing off and they're waiting for their turn and they're getting a smile bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they come and then I can't hear the conversation, but it's, the hands are moving and they're all excited. And then you start, and I always think that is just really something special to like science fiction, horror, these comic book conventions where the passion runs so deep when these people come here and they want to share whatever it is. There is something that you struck a chord with them that's specific to them. And they're like, man, I've got to share this with you. You are so special to me because. And
exactly.
I think that is really, really cool. Let's talk about some of the things then that bring you here that have people telling you this. I'm going to bring up a movie, and then if you'd maybe talk a little bit about it or maybe share a story.
Sure.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, an absolute classic. People are talking to you about it. You're signing dozens, if not hundreds of pictures. Tell, if you would, for me and our viewers, maybe a story or an anecdote that you think we might enjoy from that.
The primary thing about the Chainsaw franchise as a whole, it started with that one incredible film by Tobe Hooper, which is in the Library of Congress, and in the top 100 films universally of any film list that you'll find anywhere. And to have been a part of the sequel, and to have had that sequel be such an inside-out inversion of the original, it's kind of amazing to be affiliated with something like that and to have participated in it firsthand and to have gotten to play a heroine. They call us the Final Girls. Jamie Lee Curtis and our films came out the same year, and it kind of reinvented the idea of what routinely is the woman in peril in any general movie.
Yeah, you guys fought back though. You guys
completely,
were there, right?
And it changed the entire genre. Marilyn Burns being the first, obviously, in 1974. The primary thing that I remember is how incredibly physical the role was. And most women's roles in horror films were not that physically engaged. The woman would be in danger, but the man would always rescue her. Mm-hmm. In this instance, you've got to fight and scrap and strategize and create some kind of structure to get out of danger and save your own life. So I loved being a part of that.
Okay.
That was invigorating.
Now moving to, you are something that is great, you are a continued working actor. Not everybody that attends these conventions can say that. They might have done something in the 90s, the 80s, and then that's it. You continue to work and you continue. So I think you're a great person to ask this now. Here you were in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now you take part in the Hatchet series.
Right.
And again, talk now, maybe compare and contrast there. What's going on and what do you think of women's roles in the movies now? Are you satisfied? And tell me about your experience in Hatchet.
I think they're far superior. The opportunities for women, particularly my age, in horror are far superior to most films because they're action-oriented, because we're allowed to be authority figures. In Hatchet 3, Adam Green wrote the Amanda Perlman role to be a continuation of Stretch's journey, basically, without using the name. What would she be doing all these years later? What would she be like? What would her environment, what would the people in her life be like? And that was fantastic, and Adam Green's a phenomenal writer. So that gave me another brilliant, brilliant opportunity. And once again, very action-oriented. So the beauty of our genre is, as Rob Zombie has said, horror is just a continuation of movie westerns. It's that ongoing struggle between good and evil, within mankind himself and outside as well. And that style of story never grows old. Sometimes it's from a more psychological point of view, but in horror, you get the full, raw Sam Peckinpah experience. It's just all these new filmmakers have carried on that tradition. That was the first horror Western, you know.
Now, you took part in one of my favorite movies of the past couple of years, Tales of Halloween.
Yes,
And a
thank you.
bunch of my friends here, we go out every couple of weeks and we see the horror movies and different things. We love that kind of stuff. Talk about that, kind of a little experimental. There's not a lot of those, type of movies coming out anymore where they're the little vignettes like it was. Talk about your experience, and do you hope that there's more of that type of the Tales of Halloween coming out?
Well, number one, those filmmakers that were affiliated with Tales of Halloween, they're known as the October Society. They're considered the creme de la creme of horror filmmakers. Obviously, my favorite filmmaker of many is Dave Parker. Dave did Hills Run Red. He did another film called Cold Water. He is inventive in a way that I consider to be kind of unusual for a filmmaker. He just doesn't make routine choices. And I met him for the first time a long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and the project we had hoped to bring together didn't gel. So I had to wait all these years to finally do Sweet Tooth in Tales of Halloween. The guy is just fantastic. I put myself completely in his hands, or rather Robert Russler's, and the resulting film was fantastic. We had a great, great time. It's not often when you're my age that you get to grub it up and make out with Robert Russler on a sofa. I mean, seriously, while a child is watching. I mean, that's bizarre.
Well, my friends and I absolutely love that. It was just one of those where we went to see it, didn't get a lot of advanced knowledge of it, and just came out, all of us, just, God, did I love that. Let's hope they do 2 or 3 more of those, and I hope you're involved in every one they do.
Well, I won't be in every one they do because they want to sort of roll over a lot of the characterizations and so forth, but another one is in the works.
Oh, fantastic.
So Tales of Halloween will be your Halloween gift every year, I hope.
Well, that's fantastic
I
news.
hope.
I wanted to switch gears real quick because we're already running a little short on time. Not only are you in the movies, but you go on your IMDb page, all kinds of episodic TV you're doing.
Right.
Could you talk a little bit about working in episodic TV and what that's like? Because I've talked to a lot of actors, and there's some really interesting insights I get to the fact that as opposed to a film where you're in there for 3 weeks or 3 months, you might come in for 3 days and then you're gone, or you might be in for 3 weeks. Just I'm interested in the whole process and how
quick.
that is for you.
It's quick, and you have to. You're boundaried in a way that you are not generally particularly in horror films, where you have a working relationship that's often much more intimate with your director. Television's a little more industrial. It's a little more by the book, and there's not the time for rehearsal and character development often. You're chosen by the director for what you bring in through the door, and that's sort of it's a double-edged sword in that regard.
Excellent. Now, as we wrap up, I'd like to give your fans at home an opportunity to know that weren't able to make this convention. How can they learn more about you? How can they get in contact if maybe they want to buy an autograph or any of that? And how can they learn more about what's coming for the future in your career?
Well, IMDb is always a terrific source, Internet Movie Database, and I am listed Caroline Williams. I'm the very first one you see in the listings. Throw me a like when you're there. I'm on Twitter at Willie Caroline, WilliCaroline. Instagram, take away the @ Willie Caroline, spelled the same way. And I'm on Facebook, Caroline Williams.
We'll make sure we link all those up. The graphics were on while you were talking. So
Brilliant,
we'll have that.
thank you.
I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been really my pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you
I
so much.
enjoyed it so much.
Really
Thank you,
pleasure
Hall.
to meet you. Thank you.
I'm just
Thank
going to
very
call
much.
you Hall because I call people by their last names.
Lloyd Kaufman called me John today, so that's all right for a minute, so we're okay. But thanks so much for being on the show. I sincerely
Loved
appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more Cult Pop. With me now is Tod Brunswick, one half of the Brunswick team that brings you Motor City Nightmares Convention. Tod, another amazing convention this year.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about bringing this one together, because you brought some really amazing guests this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it a while. This is our 9th year. Anyway, it's our 10th show, actually, because we started the September one. But yeah, it was a little more planning, a little more. bringing Sherilyn Fenn, outside of the normal horror genre type of thing. Curtis Armstrong coming back in also, and even though he's on Supernatural as Metatron, I think. It was just a different kind of flavor. But both Curtis and Sherilyn are native Detroiters, so that's kind of like that angle too that we wanted to play up. So.
Well, I'm loving the fact I'm seeing long lines for everybody, not just the new people. Mr. Lloyd Kaufman is here. We were fortunate enough to have an interview.
Of course, Uncle Lloyd, yeah.
How incredible is that? So as a filmmaker yourself, talk a little bit about having Mr. Kaufman here and how great that's been for you and every other fan here.
Yeah, I think, well, for me personally, there's a handful of guys out there, Lloyd being probably the leader of that, is the spirit of independent filmmaking. And he's got his great spiel on all of it, but I mean, Lloyd's embraced every facet of independent film, no matter what the changes are in the marketplace or everything like that. And that was kind of why we really wanted him here as part of the film festival, having Lloyd in a roundtable discussion, letting the young filmmakers know, like he's got all the DVDs and all the books. You might make your own damn movies, tell your own damn movie, all that. Exactly that. That's the spirit we wanted to have, and him being here and being able to, in person, doing that first time to our event in Detroit. I think it's the first time he's been here in quite a while. I think when Borders was open, he was signing books back in the day. But it's really great. It's really great having that feel, having Lloyd here. Outstanding.
Now, for those who are going to be watching this and saying, I've never made this Motor City Nightmares, what's going on? There's so many things going on this year, and every year you add a little bit of something to it. You've got the art contest, you've got the movie marathon going on, you've got the movie competition, you've got all kinds of things going on. Talk a little bit about, sell the convention to somebody watching at home that has never been to a horror convention.
I think if you've never been to a horror convention, it's just fun, and especially our show is a regular size show. It's not a big national show, Walker Stalker or anywhere. It's just, but we have a handful of guests. Typically we run around 20, 25 guests, so it's not overladen with just celebrities. We also have all the collectibles and the vendors and the artists that are here selling their wares, which is all unique individual items, which I think really adds to that community feeling. But it is. It's the after parties, it's the bands and the entertainment, it's the film panels with the celebrity panels, and then again the roundtable panels for the filmmakers, where screenwriting, marketing, festival. I mean, we discuss the ins and the outs of indie film as well. So it's kind of this whole bubble of not just it's a horror convention because that's kind of our go-to and that's where our heart is. But it's all independent film. But for me, it's just the fact that a lot of the guests have been here every year, and this is the 4th or 5th year I think we've done.
It's kind of like a family.
It is a family. It's like you're coming to the barbecue, and I've said that before, and it gets kind of thrown back at me and people making fun, but it really is that feeling. We throw this like backyard barbecue feeling every year, and it's just that really good, laid back, mellow, and then lines might be long, but everything moves really quickly, and it's just this constant movement and relaxed feeling.
Something I'd like to say that I've always enjoyed about this convention is the location. And I've done hundreds of conventions, either for this show, other shows I'm involved with, as a producer, director. I think this is the best location for a convention where you come here, places to eat are very easily found. Everything you want to go to for this convention is very easily located. And I think that's something special. And you've been here, boy, as long as I've been, at least 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, since 2010. So this is our 6th year.
And I just think this is a spectacular location for a convention. Everything is really nicely laid out so you can get to, oh, hey, I want to see that movie. It's in 10 minutes. Okay, no problem. Let's go.
Get there, right, yeah. And again, that's kind of the way we're all over the first level, and then we have upstairs here for the the green room, and then the other screening rooms upstairs. But it keeps it close, but everything is, like you said, the layout really works well for us and for the flow of the show, I think. And that's kind of key, that's kind of key. And of course the staff and the hotel itself are really accommodating, and they, like I said, 6 years, everybody wants to work the same weekend. So it's the same bartenders, the same waiters and waitresses, the same front house people, the same back of house people. It's it's a family vibe all around. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it works well here. Before we let you go, I know you've got a lot going on. Let's talk about maybe what's coming in the future, because I know you've got the Thursday night thing, you've got a fall thing, and we've got this again next year. So talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, Fright Nights, of course, every Thursday night in Canton at the Imagine Theater down there, starts at 8 o'clock. It's a double feature, and as you know, it's a fun time. And there's the group of regulars, and there's always new people coming in and trying to mix it up with the dodgeballs and the thing. And that's just a fun, and then again, that's part of that indie spirit where we're playing all of these locally made or regionally made independent films that kind of bring it all into like, hey, I can't get a screening anywhere. Well, they can come in here and and we'll do that. And then again, this fall, if we're planning on the September show. So I think the target weekend is the 16th through the 18th. So it's good, but we have like, from what we know now, is Horror Hound is the week before, and then ScareCon is the week after. So
Okay, so there'll be no
yeah, right,
problems.
no major conflict. If you want to do the bigger shows or whatever, you can certainly
You can
do
still
that.
come
But
in here to Michigan.
we're really a Michigan-based show, especially this. I mean, we've got people coming from Mount Pleasant and as far as like Columbus, Ohio, but it's pretty tight right here around Southeast Michigan.
Okay, and real quick, give everybody your web address, your email addresses, everything that people can reach you and do the things we're
I
talking
can do that really easy. MotorCityNightmares.com or Facebook.com/MotorCityNightmares.
Okay. Todd, for everybody that can't tell you personally, thanks for a wonderful convention. This really is a great event. People
Cool,
love
thanks.
it. We appreciate your hospitality.
Love being here.
Well, that wraps it up here at Motor City Nightmares 2016. We love coming to this convention. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. As always, take a look at our website, www.cultpop.com. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.